Some days the tiredness isn't just in the body, it's deeper than that. Maybe this is the moment to slow down for a breath, because God sees the weight you've been carrying. There are days when tiredness settles deeper than sleep can reach. Not just the kind that asks for rest, but the kind that weighs on the soul. The kind that makes the heart quieter, the thoughts heavier, and hope feel distant. Sometimes the body is not the only thing that feels exhausted. The mind grows weary from carrying worries that never seem to end. The heart grows tired from fighting battles no one else can see. And in moments like these, it is easy to feel fragile, almost as if something inside us is slowly breaking. Yet throughout the pages of Scripture, there is a gentle reminder whispered again and again. Healing does not begin with our strength. It begins with surrender. Jeremiah once prayed words that still echo through generations. "Heal me, Lord, and I will be healed. Save me, and I will be saved, for you are the one I praise." In that simple cry lives a profound truth. There are wounds we cannot fix with our own hands. There are burdens too heavy for our own shoulders. But God sees beyond what the eyes can show. He sees the silent fatigue, the hidden tears, the prayers that were never spoken out loud. The Scriptures remind us that God does not care only about the visible parts of life. He cares about the whole person, the body that aches, the mind that races through sleepless nights, the soul that longs for peace. The Psalms say that He forgives sins and heals diseases. Proverbs reminds us that a joyful heart can restore strength to the body. And through Christ we are told that healing flows from wounds that were carried out of love. This means that even when life feels heavy, restoration is not a distant dream. God is not indifferent to human exhaustion. He does not ignore broken hearts. He does not overlook silent suffering. Instead, He moves gently toward the weary, toward the discouraged, toward the ones who feel like they have nothing left. And sometimes, healing begins in the quietest moment of all. When a tired heart finally whispers, "God, I need you." Take a deep breath. God is here. Before we pray, allow these words to calmly enter your soul. Because what you are about to hear is not just a reflection. With this purpose in mind, let us pray. God, in this moment of quiet, I come before you with a heart that feels tired, a soul that has carried more weight than it was meant to carry alone, and a mind that has been running for so long it no longer remembers what true rest feels like. And even if the world cannot see the heaviness inside, you see it clearly. You see every silent battle, every hidden tear, every night when sleep would not come, and every morning when strength felt distant. And so today I do not come pretending to be strong. I come exactly as I am, weary but hopeful, fragile but still reaching for you. Because deep in my heart I know that you are the one who understands what no one else fully understands. You are the one who listens even when words fail, the one who draws near when life becomes overwhelming. And right now, in the middle of this tired moment, I ask you gently to sit with me, to quiet the noise inside my mind, to calm the storm that sometimes rises within my thoughts, and to remind my heart that I am not walking through this exhaustion alone, because your presence is a place of rest that the world cannot offer. And even now I begin to breathe a little deeper, trusting that as I speak these words, your peace is already beginning to move through the quiet spaces of my soul. Lord, you know the kind of tiredness that cannot be seen from the outside, the exhaustion that hides behind normal routines and quiet smiles, the weariness that settles into the heart after carrying worries, responsibilities, disappointments, and silent battles for far too long. And tonight I bring all of that before you without trying to hide anything, because you already know every detail of my journey, every moment when I felt like giving up, every time discouragement whispered that things would never change, every time my strength felt smaller than the challenges in front of me. Yet even in the middle of this heaviness, I remember the words spoken long ago through Jeremiah, "Heal me, Lord, and I will be healed." And those words rise inside my heart now like a fragile but real hope. Because if healing depends on you, then there is still a path forward. If restoration comes from your hands, then no exhaustion is too deep and no heart is too worn out. And so I place my tired mind in your care. I place my restless thoughts in your hands. I place the parts of my life that feel broken under your gentle authority, asking you to begin restoring what fatigue has slowly taken away, renewing strength where weakness has settled, and breathing life again into the quiet places of my soul where discouragement once tried to live. Father, sometimes the exhaustion I carry is not only physical, it is the weight of emotions, the quiet sadness that builds slowly after days and months of trying to stay strong, the heaviness that settles in the heart when hope feels distant and the path ahead seems uncertain. And in moments like this, I remember the words written in the Psalms, that you are the one who forgives, the one who heals, the one who restores what life has worn down. And that promise becomes a small light inside my weary soul, reminding me that my story is not defined by this season of discouragement, reminding me that even when I feel empty, your presence is still close, still gentle, still patient with my fragile heart. So tonight I lay down the emotional weight I have been carrying, the worries I replay in my mind, the fears that quietly whisper in the night, and I ask you to replace them with your peace, the kind of peace that does not depend on circumstances, the kind of peace that slowly rebuilds strength inside a tired spirit. And if someone listening to this prayer right now also feels overwhelmed, I ask that your comfort would reach them exactly where they are, touching the deepest part of their heart with a quiet assurance that they are not alone, that you see them, that you care, and that your healing presence is already closer than they realize. Lord, there are moments when discouragement slowly steals the energy from our days, when even simple things begin to feel heavy and the heart starts to question whether it still has the strength to keep going. And you know those moments better than anyone, because you see the inner battles that no one else can see, the quiet struggles hidden behind normal conversations, the silent prayers whispered when the night becomes too long. And right now I bring that weariness before you with honesty, asking you to touch the places in my life where hope has grown faint, breathe new courage into the parts of my heart that feel fragile, and remind my soul that your care has never left me. Because your word tells us that a joyful heart can bring healing even to the body. And so I ask you to restore joy where sadness has lingered, restore calm where anxiety has been loud, restore light where discouragement has cast shadows. And if someone praying these words with me feels like their strength is almost gone, may your presence surround them in this very moment, gently lifting the weight they have been carrying, reminding them that they are seen, they are loved, and they are not walking through this tired season by themselves. And if this prayer is touching your heart right now, quietly whisper Amen where you are, letting your soul agree with the peace that God is beginning to pour into this moment. God, sometimes the body grows tired because the soul has been carrying too much for too long, worries that repeat in the mind, responsibilities that never seem to pause, expectations that quietly press against the heart day after day. And in those moments, even rest does not feel like real rest, because the mind continues running and the heart continues holding things it was never meant to carry alone. But your word reminds us that you care about the whole person, spirit, soul, and body. And so right now, I bring every part of my life before you, not only the visible struggles, but also the hidden ones, the thoughts that return in the quiet hours, the emotions that sometimes feel overwhelming, the tiredness that settles deep in the chest. And I ask you to gently restore balance within me. Calm the storms that rise inside my mind. Soften the tension that settles into my body. And breathe your peace through every part of my being, because I believe that your presence can reach places that human strength cannot reach. Your peace can quiet worries that logic cannot silence, and your love can rebuild strength in a heart that feels worn down. And even now, as this prayer continues, I trust that something unseen is beginning to shift inside my soul, slowly replacing exhaustion with a quiet and steady hope. Lord, there are seasons when discouragement slowly settles into the heart like a quiet fog, making everything feel heavier than it really is, draining motivation, dimming joy, and whispering that strength will never return. But even in those moments, your presence remains steady and close, never distant, never indifferent. always aware of the silent struggles that live within us. And so today I bring this discouragement to you without shame, without pretending that I am stronger than I truly feel, because you are the one who understands the fragile parts of the human heart, the moments when hope grows thin and energy fades. And in this honest moment, I ask you to breathe new life into my spirit, to lift the invisible weight that presses on my thoughts, to calm the restless tension that sometimes settles in my chest, and to gently remind my soul that exhaustion does not define my future, because your mercy is renewed with every morning, and your strength is not limited by my weakness. And if someone listening to this prayer feels like they have been trying to stay strong for too long, may your comforting presence surround them right now, wrapping their heart in the quiet assurance that they are not abandoned, not forgotten, and not beyond the reach of your restoring love. Father, there are moments when the soul becomes tired in ways that words cannot easily explain, moments when the heart feels heavy without knowing exactly why, when even the smallest tasks seem to require more strength than we feel we have. And in those quiet struggles we sometimes feel alone, as if no one truly understands the depth of what we are carrying inside. But you understand. You see every hidden burden, every silent tear that never reached the surface, every long night when the mind refused to rest. And right now, I place all of that before you with open hands, asking you to gently take the weight that has been sitting on my shoulders, the worries that repeat endlessly in my thoughts, the emotional fatigue that slowly drains hope, and replace it with the quiet strength that only your presence can give, because your love has the power to restore what discouragement tries to destroy. Your peace can calm storms that no one else can see, and your grace can rebuild courage in a heart that feels fragile. And if someone listening to this prayer feels the same tiredness deep in their spirit, I ask that your comfort would reach them right now in a real and personal way, reminding them that even in the middle of exhaustion, their story is not over, and your faithful presence is still walking beside them. God, you know that sometimes exhaustion is not loud. It does not always arrive as a crisis or a visible breakdown. Sometimes it is quiet and slow, growing little by little through daily pressures, through worries that repeat themselves, through responsibilities that never seem to pause, until one day the heart simply feels drained. And in that quiet exhaustion, we may begin to question our strength, our direction, even our hope. But right now, I bring that silent fatigue into your presence, trusting that nothing about my life is hidden from you. You see the effort behind every step, the courage it takes just to keep moving forward when energy feels low. And I ask you to pour fresh strength into my spirit, the kind of strength that does not come from willpower alone, but from the calm assurance that you are near, restoring what has been worn down, renewing what has grown weak, and gently reminding my soul that rest can be found in your presence. And if someone listening to this prayer feels this same quiet exhaustion in their life, I ask that your peace would surround them like a soft light in the dark, reassuring them that they are not forgotten and that your healing work is already beginning in places they cannot yet see. Lord, sometimes the tiredness we feel is not only from today, but from many yesterdays, from seasons that stretched longer than we expected, from prayers that seemed to echo in silence, from moments when we tried to stay hopeful while quietly feeling our strength fade. And you know every one of those moments, because nothing in our journey has ever been hidden from your eyes. So today I bring not only the exhaustion of this day, but the weight of everything that has been building inside my heart for so long. And I ask you to gently begin restoring what time and worry have slowly worn down. Calm the thoughts that circle endlessly through my mind. Soften the tension that has settled into my body. And remind my soul that your care has never stopped even in the seasons when I struggled to feel it. Because your word tells us that by your wounds healing became possible for us, and that promise speaks into this very moment now, telling my heart that restoration is still within reach, that discouragement does not have the final word, and that your presence can rebuild strength even in a soul that feels completely drained. And if this prayer is touching something deep inside you right now, you can gently write, "I receive this peace," in your heart, or even in the comments, letting this moment become a quiet agreement with the healing that God is beginning to pour over tired hearts. Father, There are moments when the heart grows tired from trying to hold everything together, from carrying responsibilities, expectations, and quiet fears that no one else fully sees. And sometimes the pressure of simply continuing feels heavier than words can describe. Yet even in those moments, your presence remains near, steady and patient, never rushing us, never abandoning us in the middle of our exhaustion. And tonight I bring this tired heart before you just as it is, asking you to gently release the pressure that has been building inside my chest, calm the thoughts that refuse to slow down, and restore the quiet confidence that life is still held safely in your hands. Because when strength fades, your grace becomes even more present, and when our energy runs low, your compassion draws even closer. And so I ask that your peace would settle deeply within my mind, your comfort would surround my emotions, and your restoring presence would begin renewing every part of my being, slowly replacing heaviness with calm, fear with trust, and discouragement with the quiet assurance that you are still guiding every step of my journey. Lord, sometimes the hardest part of exhaustion is the feeling that we must keep going even when our hearts are quietly asking for rest, when responsibilities keep moving forward while our strength feels like it is running low. And in those moments, we try to be strong for everyone around us, while silently wishing someone could see the weight we are carrying inside. But you see it clearly. You notice the effort behind every step, the courage it takes just to wake up and continue when energy feels fragile. And today I bring that hidden effort before you, asking you to meet me right in the middle of this weariness, to slow the racing thoughts that crowd my mind, to ease the tension that sometimes settles deep within my body, and to remind my soul that true rest is found in your presence. Because when everything feels overwhelming, your peace can still create a quiet space inside the heart, a place where hope begins to breathe again and strength slowly returns. And if someone praying these words with me feels deeply tired today, I ask that your gentle comfort would reach them right where they are, surrounding their life with the calm assurance that they do not have to face this season alone, and that your restoring hand is already at work in their story. God, there are moments when exhaustion makes the future look uncertain, when the mind begins to wonder if things will ever feel light again, if the heart will ever feel the same joy it once carried. And in those quiet questions, the soul sometimes feels lost. But even there, your presence remains steady, patiently reminding us that our story is still unfolding under your care. And so today, I bring every fear about tomorrow into your hands, the worries about what has not yet happened, the doubts that quietly grow when energy is low. And I ask you to calm those restless thoughts with the gentle assurance that you are still guiding my path, even through seasons of fatigue and discouragement, because your faithfulness does not depend on how strong I feel. Your love does not fade when my strength runs out, and your plans are not interrupted by my moments of weakness. And right now, I ask you to breathe fresh courage into my spirit, to slowly replace uncertainty with trust, heaviness with quiet peace, and tiredness with the calm confidence that I do not need to carry the future alone, because my life rests safely in your hands. Father, in the quiet of this moment, I realize how easy it is to carry burdens longer than we should, to hold worries in our hearts as if they depend entirely on us, to keep trying to control what only you truly see and understand. And that weight slowly drains the soul until even simple days feel overwhelming. But tonight I choose to place those burdens gently into your hands, the concerns about things I cannot change, the pressures that have been sitting on my shoulders for too long, the fears that quietly return when my mind is tired. And I ask you to teach my heart the courage of surrender, the quiet strength that comes from trusting you with the things beyond my control, because your wisdom reaches further than my understanding, and your care is deeper than my worries. And even when life feels uncertain, I believe that your presence continues guiding every step of my path. So breathe calm into my thoughts, soften the tension inside my chest, and remind my soul that letting go does not mean giving up. It means trusting that you are working even in places where I cannot yet see the outcome. Lord, there are moments when the soul simply needs to breathe again, to pause from the endless rhythm of worries, responsibilities, and expectations that slowly drain our energy. And in this moment, I ask you to create that space inside my heart, a quiet place where your peace can gently settle, where the noise of anxiety fades and the tired mind begins to rest, because your presence has a way of calming storms that no human solution can calm. And right now, I ask you to touch every part of my life that feels stretched too thin, the emotions that feel fragile, the thoughts that feel heavy, the body that carries the tension of long days and restless nights, and replace that fatigue with the quiet strength that comes from being close to you, reminding me that I do not have to carry everything at once, that it is okay to slow down, that it is okay to breathe again under the shelter of your care. And if someone praying these words right now feels deeply overwhelmed, may your comfort reach them in a real and personal way, surrounding their heart with the gentle assurance that rest is possible and that your restoring presence is already moving through their life. God, as this moment of prayer continues, I begin to realize that even in exhaustion, there is still a quiet hope growing inside the heart, because your presence has a way of entering the deepest places of our lives and slowly restoring what seemed worn down. And so I ask you now to renew my strength in ways I cannot create on my own. Restore the energy that stress has taken from my body. Calm the emotions that have been overwhelmed by too many worries, and breathe life again into the parts of my spirit that felt discouraged. Because your love is not limited by human weakness, and your grace is not exhausted by our struggles. And even when I feel fragile, I trust that your hands are steady enough to hold my life, steady enough to rebuild courage inside me, steady enough to guide me forward one step at a time. And if someone listening to this prayer feels like they have been trying to stay strong for too long without rest, may your presence wrap around them right now like a quiet shelter, reminding them that they do not have to face everything alone, and that your restoring peace is gently filling the tired spaces of their heart. Father, in this quiet moment, I begin to feel how your presence slowly changes the atmosphere inside the heart, like a soft light entering a room that had been dark for too long. And even if the circumstances of life have not yet changed, something inside begins to breathe again. Because your peace has a way of reaching deeper than the noise of the world, deeper than the worries that try to fill our thoughts. And right now, I ask you to anchor my heart in that peace, the kind that does not disappear when problems appear, the kind that stays steady even when the road ahead is still uncertain. Remind me that my life is not sustained by my own strength alone, but by your faithful care that never fails. And let this moment become a turning point where my soul slowly releases the heavy weight it has been carrying, trusting that you are already working in ways I cannot fully see, restoring energy to my body, calm to my mind, and quiet confidence to my spirit. Because even in weakness, your presence becomes a refuge where tired hearts can finally begin to rest again. Lord, as this prayer continues, I begin to sense that even the most tired heart can slowly find strength again when it rests in your presence. Because you are not a distant God watching from afar. You are close to the weary, close to the discouraged, close to those who feel like they have carried too much for too long. And right now, I ask you to deepen that sense of closeness within my soul, reminding me that every step forward in life does not depend only on my strength, but also on your faithful guidance. And even when my energy feels limited, your grace continues to sustain me, gently lifting my spirit, renewing my courage, and restoring the quiet hope that fatigue once tried to silence. And if someone praying these words right now feels like they have been walking through a long and exhausting season, may this moment become a place of renewal for their heart, a moment where your peace enters their life in a real way, calming the storms within, easing the burdens they have been carrying, and filling their spirit with the quiet assurance that tomorrow can hold new strength, new light, and new possibilities under your loving care. God, as this moment of prayer gently reaches its final breath, I place my tired heart fully into your hands, trusting that every word spoken here has been heard by you with love and attention. And even if my strength has felt small, your presence has been greater than my exhaustion, greater than my worries, greater than the discouragement that sometimes tried to settle into my soul. And right now, I surrender everything that has been heavy inside me, the stress I have been carrying in silence, the emotional weight that drained my energy, the quiet fears about the future, believing that you are already working within the unseen parts of my life, restoring what has been worn down, renewing courage where discouragement once lived, and filling the deepest spaces of my spirit with a peace that the world cannot give. So tonight I choose to rest in the truth that I am not alone, that my life is still held in your care, that tomorrow does not depend only on my strength but also on your faithful love that continues guiding my path. And with a calmer heart, I trust that your healing, your renewal, and your gentle presence will continue walking with me long after this prayer ends. May peace settle softly over your mind tonight. May your heart feel lighter than it did before this prayer began. And may God gently restore the strength your soul has been needing. Take the step, and God will provide the ground.